we're going to be talking about the TPT town hall meeting recap. I don't know when this is coming out. I'm hoping to get it out Saturday morning, but it is Friday night and I just watched it. So we'll see how we do. I had to teach today. Actually, the day was fine, but it's just been a long day. Okay, let's start right off the top. If you have never attended a wide sale, town hall meeting, I highly recommend it. They're usually 30 to 40 minutes. They are very respectful of time and they try to get off as soon as they can. And they actually had a lot of information in today's meeting. So you will get an introduction from Amy, who has been with TPT the longest, 12 years. Paul, CEO Paul. They had a new guy on there, though he's not new to TPT. I don't know how long he's been with TPT, but he has been there at least a couple of years. His name is, I think they call him Fitz, but I think his name is, I can't remember now his name. Pricilla was there and Will was there. So they have been there. Pricilla is one of the newer staff members at TPT. She replaced Karen last year. Then they give the floor to Paul to talk about numbers. I like Paul. I like Paul, and he's honest. I feel like he's being transparent with us. It seems that he looks for answers. Now, Paul is a CEO of IXL, and IXL has an umbrella of other stores. Did you see the cat jump in there? Is IXL and Rosetta Stone and Spelling City, Vocabulary City. So they own a few companies, but I feel like he seems to be in the know and very knowledgeable about TPT. So let's quickly talk numbers. What he does is he shares numbers in comparison to the previous year. So starting with June, TPT was up 3% from last June. Yay. Then July was down 3%. That was interesting because my July was up. August down. This one is really interesting. 7.5%. Why is this interesting? They had 2 site-wide sales. I don't know. Interesting. September down 4%. My September was down about 4% too. That's kind of interesting. What he talked about was the impact of AI on not just TPT, but any online store. And I think I would have to agree with him on this, because when you search something on Google now, what often comes up first, it used to be ads. There used to be ads there. They're not there anymore. They have been pushed down. Now you get these AI paragraphs. So now your ads are, who knows where they are. They could be halfway down the page. And so AI is determining where to direct you. That's very interesting. So I think they're losing a lot of market share that way. Their biggest sales are from direct sales, which means people are going directly to teachers pay teachers, as opposed to Google. And they're looking at different opportunities, particularly one called OpenAI. Has some marketing opportunities. They've applied, they're on the wait list, things like that. So it's about weathering the AI storm. I think some people are already getting tired of AI. I like AI, and I've shared this before. I have a relationship with AI. In fact, I've had some very interesting conversations with AI over the last couple of weeks, because right now I'm personally looking at deleting products that have never made a sale. And some of them have been on there since 2020. So that's 5 years, no sales. I find that that's just, if it's dead weight, I should get rid of it. But I have had chats with AI and we look at the pros and cons, keeping it on, not keeping it on, things like that. So that's been really interesting. But AI is a massive influence. I've shared this before. Our school district offers AI workshops and they're full. They're full. In fact, during not the staff meeting we just had, but the previous one, we talked about AI. And some people are on it and some people are just like get back. So there's definitely some sort of impact from AI. And I think we could be all doom and gloom, and I don't think that's the right approach. I think we can outwork it, if I'm being honest, but we've got to be creative. And that's what makes the difference between an AI product and our products, is our creativity, our voice. Sad popcorn. I watch town hall meetings like a movie. I'm eating popcorn. So Paul talked about that. Then they had Fitz on, and I've never heard Fitz before, so that was nice. And he talked about a couple things which were really interesting, and I might just search these on AI. But he talked about how TPT is looking at GEO and AEO. Interesting. This was fascinating. So we've got SEO, right? SEO, search engine optimization. Now we have GEO, which is generative engine optimization, and AEO, which is answer engine optimization. I'm going to be asking ChatGPT that this weekend. What is that? And they're just looking to see how those will affect their Google rankings and things like that. One of the things they seem to stress is that our Google ranking is very important, and our Google ranking will help us in the long run get more sales. So we want to be careful of how we do things, and I'll touch on that in just a moment. TPT has always tweaked the algorithm just a bit. And one of the things that Fitz said is that it's never been anything major since last October. And they did share this in a town hall meeting last October, where they talked about tweaking the algorithm based on buyer behavior. So if a certain buyer is typing a certain way and looking at products, the algorithm is picking that up. And that's why it's really important to read the survey results of the teacher survey that they did with 8,000 teachers. And I mentioned this in a previous email, but there's some really good insights. I'll share a little bit of it in a moment. Fitz recommended, he had 3 tips for us, or no, 4 tips for us. Number 1, avoid keyword stuffing. What is keyword stuffing? That is when you're putting keywords in for the sake of keywords. There are still people doing it. In fact, I had this discussion with ChatGPT about a month ago because I was asking it to help me write a product description, and it keyword stuffed. I said, you're keyword stuffing. And they said, no, that's not keyword stuffing. They said, this is keyword stuffing. And then they showed me this other thing, and I went, I'd almost like to email Fitz and say, okay, is ChatGPT right here? One of the things I see once in a while on a product description is someone will put at the bottom of their product description all these words. And to me, I'm thinking that's keyword stuffing. And Fitz said the algorithm is based on the first 150 words of your product description. So interesting. I'm going to have to see where my snippet lands at 150 words. 150 words isn't a lot. That's probably 8 to 10 sentences. Interesting. Okay. I have to think about that one a bit. So anyways, they have not done any major tweaks to the algorithm since last October. So when people say, oh, they've been tweaking the algorithm, not really. Okay. Now, tip number 1 was avoid keyword stuffing. I can do another video, and I'm going to email them and see if I can get an answer about that one. Tip number 2, make sure that you're not just saying your product is good for K to 12, unless it truly is. I was looking for a product just this past week, I think it was. Oh yeah, I was looking at Sudoku. I wanted to see if Sudoku was on TPT, and there is Sudoku. And sure enough, someone put that their Sudoku is K to 7 friendly. No way. You can't tell me that kindergartens and grade 7s can do that Sudoku puzzle. I'm sorry. maybe 5 to 7, but not K to 7, like seriously. And that's what they were saying. Don't do that. Do not do more than 4 grades and preferably 2. They said only do them if they truly are appropriate for the resource. Especially, they said, special needs languages was the other one. Now, tip number 3 was covers and preview files. They didn't say thumbnail, which was really interesting, but the cover and the preview. And a lot of people do not have previews, and often people ask me to just look at their store. If you send me an email and say, can you look at my store? Depending on my time, I will probably do it if it takes me less than 10 minutes. Okay, please don't inundate me with these now. But I will do it. And he's right. These are the biggest things I see. Covers are a problem, no previews. And when it comes to a bundle, with bundles, what they do is they take the previews of your individual products and put it on the bundle, right? He recommended a dedicated preview for the bundle. Now, I can confess, I know of probably at least a half a dozen that I have not done, maybe even more. So that's now on the to-do list. Okay, he didn't say that they would affect the algorithm rankings, but it will definitely affect your sales. So that's good to know. And then the last one, tip 4, was watching your conversion rates. I wish he would have said what a good conversion rate on TPT is, but I have been told in the past from Kristen Doyle, who has the podcast Savvy Teacher Seller, I think it is. A good conversion rate is 5 to 7%. Personally, I do 5 to 10. If I can get my stuff in 5 to 10, I'm happy. If it's over 10, then I'm thinking maybe the price is too low, right? Things like this. But anyways, so conversion rates. One of the things he shared, which I did not know, is that outside traffic does not affect your conversion rate that TPT posts. The conversion rate that TPT posts is from direct traffic only, meaning they went into TPT, searched it, bought it, or didn't buy it, right? That was your conversion rate. If you have a Pinterest pin and the person posts or clicks it and goes to your product and they buy, that, yes, that shows up, and it should show up in your traffic as well, but it shouldn't affect your conversion rate. And there is a seller blog post in the seller blog to read up on some of this. One of the other things he talked about was changing your product title. Now, I bring this up, changing your product title when it's not where it should be as far as ranking, right? Your goal is to be in the first couple pages of the search term, the keyword of your resource. So for example, let's go back to Sudoku. So Sudoku, let me just quickly look this up. It's really funny, and it's misspelled, and it's still in search terms. So Sudoku, Sudoku, see, I'm mispronouncing it wrong. Sudoku, that's the proper spelling, okay? If I just search that term, it comes up with 9,000 results, which is a reasonable number. Like if you like Sudoku puzzles, 10,000, okay? But your goal is to try and get on the first couple pages, or people aren't going to see it. The lower that search results is, the better off your chances are getting on that first page, right? That's why you don't want to make something and there is 80,000 search results, because your chances of getting a seen are slim to none, right? That's why I'm thinking of deleting some of my products, because they're in too high of a search. They're not getting views. I'm just taking up space. I don't want to do that. There are other words attached to Sudoku that you could add, right? So for example, if you just said, like, I just have a screenshot here of Sudoku bulletin board, or the next one, Sudoku puzzles for critical thinking. That's a great one, actually. Grade 6 to 9. See how they got only 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 grades. That's exactly what you want, right? Good job. But what he's saying is, you know, in order to rank higher, I encourage you to change the title to make it sound more logical. Like I said, that Sudoku puzzles for critical thinking, that's an excellent written title there. That's why it's probably at the top. If Happy Educator changes the title, what he's recommending is don't do it more than 1 to 2 times every year. So that was good to know. And honestly, don't if you don't have to. Because it's not that it affects the TPT, it affects Google search. So if you're just concerned about TPT, it's fine. If you're concerned about Google, for example, say you have a website and you're changing the title, it can affect that. So that was one thing he brought. So 1 to 2 times a year, not a month, a year. So that was Fitz. And then Amy came back on and talked about TPT buyer survey, 8,000 teachers. It's on the seller blog. The biggest things, teachers were looking for SEL because they have found that disruptive behavior has been on the rise for the last couple of years. I can attest to that in our own classroom. So yeah, over 50% were looking for SEL, 41% academic. They're looking for small group activities, whole group activities, and projects and individual, kind of in that order. And then what features within a product, ease of use, absolutely, 100%. Engagement and hands-on activities. Okay, they need products that are going to be engaging. Kids will interact with them. Okay, digital products are still hot, by the way. Okay, so that was Amy. And then she talked about, and I brought this up in the Facebook group, security and phishing. So phishing is an online scam where they send you an email posing as someone else, right, like TPT, and trying to get some information from you, personal information, whether it be credit card, address confirmation, like anything. Okay, that's called phishing. So they said if you receive an email from TPT and you are not sure, do not touch it. Email TPT, go to the contact us page and ask. Because I think I put a picture of one on our Facebook group, and boy, it looks close. But if you look at the TPT address, it's not quite right. For most of us, that would be an easy thing to click on. Easy. And that's how good they're getting. They're getting better and better at this, which is harder for us. So do not click on something. If they attach something, do not click on the attachment. And if you accidentally do, change your passwords immediately. And I know changing passwords is a problem, but do it. Get yourself a password manager like Bitwarden, Bitwarden. That's a free one, and it's annoying, but it works. It does the job really well. Or, just find a password manager. They also stressed that if you are creating links from your description to an outside source, double check that all those links are going to secure, trusted websites. Because if they aren't, it gives TPT grounds to shut you down. And they don't want to do that. You don't want them to do that. So make sure that your website, if that's where they're going, right? If you're directing traffic to your website, and be careful about that. You can't, part of terms of use with TPT is you can't direct on your product description a link to that same product on your own personal website. You're not allowed to do that. You got to watch terms of use. Let's just say it was to a blog post. If that blog post link is broken and something happens, it's enough to get you shut down. Okay. Will came on and he stressed that viewer responses, buyer responses, seller responses, they love them. They want them, and they will read every single one of them. So if you have any questions or any concerns, please reach out to them. I shared some of these things that Will talked about in a previous video. I think it was called TPT updates or something like that. So I'm going to go through them quickly, okay? And I'll try and put a link towards the end of this video there, okay? But they've updated the seller dashboard so you can now make sales. According to terms of use from Apple, they cannot put the price of the product. So say you're on the TPT app and you want to buy something and it says get resource. I'll show you an image here. There's no price. That's because of Apple, not because of TPT. Okay, so they've done that. They have updated the ratings and reviews on your website. If a product has more than 10 buyer reviews and with an 80% or better rating, they will post them because they want to keep all ratings as positive as possible. And that's for us, which is a good thing. If people put a title to the review, that actually helps with the Google algorithm of that product. And all these little extra add-ins, adding things, they ask questions. I'll show you some pictures here. These won't apply to old reviews unless someone decides to update the review. Okay. Next thing, collaborative sales. Yay, collaborative sales. Okay, and this is going live next week. How exciting is that? Starting Monday. And if you are interested in a collaborative sale and you are in our Facebook group, let me know in the Facebook group, because there is, as far as I know, there's no TPT sales, site-wide sales anyways, between now and the end of November. There's usually a cyber sale last week of November, and it might even fall into December this year. I'm just trying to think of when American Thanksgiving lands, but I'm thinking of doing a collaborative sale maybe the first week of November. And if you are interested, let me know. And what we'll do is maybe we'll run a couple. So we'll do one for K to 3, K to 4, and then maybe intermediate or even high school level, just to throw some out there, just to play with them, right? Let's play with some. They talked about School Express. If you didn't hear about School Express, they reach out to schools where schools will actually pay for TPT resources. And they used to have one called School Access. A lot of teachers didn't like it. Teacher sellers didn't like it because we got only 50% of the value of a resource. School Access, it is 100%, less the 20% fees and that kind of stuff. It's going really well. They've already increased $1 million plus, so that's a good thing. They talked about the Seller Advisory Board and how they were inundated, record number of applications. They talked about TPT Live, and they tweaked my interest because in the next couple months, they're going to Salt Lake City, Cleveland, Seattle. I went Seattle. So Seattle is in January 24th, which is a Saturday. And I went, maybe I'll go visit. Maybe I'll go. It's mainly for newer TPT sellers, but I thought it's always good to network with people. So I might just go visit, go down. It'd be a fun trip. And then they talked about some mini webinars. One of them, Josh, I'll just show you the picture here. He has an excellent one on copywriting, really good. He's got a cool store. It's world languages, and a lot of his proceeds, his actual earnings, go to kids overseas, schools, food, all sorts of things like that. Kudos to him. They talked about the TPT Forward, which is going to be in Las Vegas. The early bird fees are $225 until the middle of December. I am considering it, though I have a school reunion in England in August, and I don't think I can afford to go to both. And honestly, I'd rather go to England than Las Vegas. But I'm not going to rule it out yet. We'll see. We will see. Because it's only a week in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is an easy flight for me. I know I'm going to go to one in my life. And they were talking about presenters. If you're interested in presenting at TPT Forward, they're taking applications right now. I'm always encouraged when I listen to town hall meetings. I didn't always. There was a time when I was just discouraged by them and they felt bleak. And so I think CEO Paul has been a wonderful addition. And I mean, Amy's always chipper and I enjoy listening to her, and Will is fun, and I like Fitz and Pricilla. Like I said, I'm happy with them all. Let me know if you watched it and what was a highlight for you. I'm gonna change around some videos. I'm trying to just work on, I got some report cards all ready to write. So we'll see how we'll see how my schedule is. But I'm gonna be doing one with Seller Spy. Colleen is busy, so I am still trying to get her on to this channel for an interview. But in the meantime, I will do a Seller Spy because some of you are interested in Seller Spy. I really like Seller Spy and I don't use it enough, right? I'm still a big AI chat GPT, and but yeah, there's a lot of tools out there that are worth looking at. The thing is, you need to have a mind shift when it comes to selling on TPT. And I talk about it a lot. But if you don't have this idea of you already know you have a good quality product, but you've got to get it seen. So there has to be some strategy to getting it seen. And tools like Seller Spy, even Teachers Boost, it just depends on the styles that you like. Okay, I like to use AI, but AI has its limitations. I made a video 7 months ago, and asked ChatGPT, what are your limitations? And it shared its limitations. So it does have limitations, and I think that's something we have to remember. AI will only take us so far. Okay, I will have a link down to the replay of the TPT town hall meeting. It has a running script, so you can move ahead if you want to. That makes it sometimes easier. I'll have a link to the seller blog if I remember. Okay. If you have any video ideas that you would like, I've got a couple requests of some tutorials I'm going to try and do over the next couple months. I'm hoping, I've been going into school and teaching a little bit extra. I'm hoping that'll slow down now. For my Canadian seller friends, happy Thanksgiving this coming Monday, the 13th. And like I said, I'm hoping that after this weekend, life will slow down a little bit. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon.